So a couple of people have asked me how I managed to get to an absurd point with Khorne super early in the campaign where I've already got Bloodthirsters available, and I'm recruiting them, and I'm making money while in the negative by about 20,000. And the portals have just opened on turn 41. I have pushed this farther than this before. I managed to get a full army of Bloodthirsters with a couple of heroes by the time the portals finally opened on turn 35. So you can push this much farther than I did. But basically what I did was I turned Death Axe's Monolith into a sack city. I turned Tower of Flies into a sack city. And Twisting Towers into a sack city. And then I eliminated those factions until they had no armies. Everything was just the city. They had no army outside of it. They had no settlement outside of it. And that way, every turn, what they have to do is they have to repair the garrison, replace their army, put a new lord in here, and now you simply pop the skulls for the Skull Throne, increasing your post-battle income. You attack the settlement. Nice, easy auto-resolve once you've got them to this point. And, as you can see, I got 8,000 coin for doing that. You just sack it for the replenishment, and right back into an encamp stance. Absolutely devastating. And, you do the same thing over here, at this other settlement. And usually one of the two will end up giving you some really good cash, if not both of them. I've gotten as high as 20,000 from one settlement before. So already, with just those two settlements, I have made over 15,000, so I have made profit instead of gone into the negative. When I had the third one here, there's the Slanesh faction that only has this one territory. So normally you just blow them up and take Death Axe or raise it and make a new Blood Host or something, but instead I kept them there and I just turned it into a sack city. And what I did early on is I had 4 lords here sacking the city. Each one gets bloodletting, giving them more growth for all of my provinces, and decreasing the upkeep costs of all their armies. In the beginning, I only need, 6 units or something, and then the 3 lords besides the main army. And it was easy enough to auto-resolve without any casualties. But I started recruiting a bit more, because I knew that this might come, and it might interrupt, so I made an actual army to deal with it. Same thing down here. I gave him all of Skarbrand's old army, because I knew that Skarbrand would be recruiting nothing but Bloodthirsters for a Super Doom stack I want to test. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to take Shifting Monolith, Chasm of Torment, and I'm going to turn Folly of Malefics into a sack city as well. The only downside to this is you don't get the complete province bonus, which is a plus 1% melee attack for all of your armies. That does kind of suck, but you make a lot of money early on. So if you are super aggressive, what you can do is you can turn this into a sack city, this one into a sack city, these two into sack cities, and as long as you eliminate these guys down to all of their armies, all of their settlements, and leave them just here in this one settlement, you can always just obliterate this settlement for tons of money. I haven't attacked this settlement yet, so it's worth a mountain of cash right now. This is only on hard difficulty because I was just testing this. I didn't know how well I could push it on higher difficulties. I didn't really have much time to test. I'm sure a lot of better players will be able to test this much better than me. I'm not close enough. You can make this much easier by recruiting a ton of these Exalted Bloodthirsters and saving them, and then bringing them into a new campaign. So, 8,000 cash, just for auto-resolving that. Another 9,000 for sacking the settlement. Granted, you won't get the 9,000 after you sacked it the first time, you'll only get like a 200. But you still get the other 8,000 that you made. So, I just made about 9,000 profit probably in this turn, with these 3 settlements. When I had this one as well, I was making even more. The reason why this gives you so much cash is because of this building. If you conquer all the territory around a city that you want to turn into a sack city, you just build a ton of these, and once they get up to War Crucibles, they each give you plus 30%. So there's 30%, there's another 30%, this one skyrockets, plus the skull for the Skull Throne increases it another 25%. and you start getting a crazy amount of money from post-battle loot. If you have an army that has increased capture rate of prisoners of war, you can manage to make even more money out of it. Yeah, casualties captured post-battle plus 10%. So, you can manage to get a crazy amount of money flowing from sack cities like this. You could be super aggressive or super passive. What I did was I kept these two, and I kept this one, and I sacked all three of those, and I actually wound up sometimes having no war. Right now I have a ton of war because I've been really aggressive. But I did have one game where I had only 2 wars. I was just sacking these 2 settlements. Eventually I started sacking this one as well, so I had 3 wars, and I wound up totally at peace with Slaanesh. So, sack cities are still here, but they're only really here for Khorne, as far as I've been able to tell. They also work for Daemons of Chaos because of the bloodletting. Once you unlock bloodletting, you can keep a sack city somewhere, and you just sack it repeatedly with 4 lords to get tons of growth. With all of that growth, your provinces grow super fast. Like, look, it's rather low right now, actually, and that's terrifying to think about. Because at rather low, it's 765. 765 growth a turn is ridiculous. So, bloodlet away. That's the best way to get crazy profit in Khorne's campaign, is to have lots of sack cities. You just keep one faction around just to make a sack city, build tons of these post-battle loot bonus buildings around that city. This is going to go nuts in Mortal Empires, I am sure. Like this Blighted Grove, if you captured this one, and then captured the settlement up here, and you build post-battle loot in all of those, you could manage to make an absurd amount of money in this province, just by sacking this one city over and over again. Just because of the sheer amount of multiplication you would have going on. Nonetheless, I hope that this helps people go absolutely nuts with the Khorne campaign. Khorne is already so powerful, to discover stuff like this as well on top of it is just disgusting in my book. Like, Khorne is going to dominate the Mortal Empires campaign so hard in players' hands, that's for sure. You won't even need to really bother with much of caring about upkeep with this going on. Like, these 2 armies here pay for themselves by sacking this settlement. These 3 armies pay for themselves by sacking this settlement. You could even go over here and get the Rage Within to decrease the upkeep cost. When you recruit one of these Bloodthirsters, they start at level 7, if not 8. Because in order to get one, you need to get Herald up to 15. And he halves in level when he changes to an Exalted. So, at level 7, you can get here. And at level 8, you can get here. So it doesn't take long to get upkeep minus 9%. And then you can get another 6% here and have basically free army. Just sacking the settlement over and over again. I was actually able to just have 4 Exalted Bloodthirsters and no army. And they were able to sack these without a problem and just go back into encamp stance. So, best of luck. Good luck in your campaign. Bring more skulls for the Skull Throne, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.